Welcome to Straight to Your Health channel. This is part 2 of the continuation video discussing the keto diet or high protein, low carb diets in general. Note that the claims as given in this video are those from the websites that discuss the keto diet and are trying to convince you that it is the diet of choice. Except, for all of you that they claim may not be able to use this diet because of your health risks. More on this later. Let's jump into the promoter's claims. Quote, low levels of insulin causes greater lipolysis compared to a normal diet. Insulin has a lipolysis blocking effect, which can inhibit the use of fatty acids as energy. Also, when insulin is brought to low levels, beneficial hormones are released in the body, such as growth hormone and other powerful growth factors. Insulin is used by your body to cause the muscle, fat, and the liver to absorb excess glucose. This glucose is stored in the muscles and liver in chains of glucose molecules called glycogen, and is converted into fat in the adipose cells. This occurs after eating foods that contain carbohydrates. As your blood sugar increases, insulin is released to cause the muscles, fat, and the liver to absorb the excess sugar. Without these tissues absorbing the excess sugar, your blood sugar will get very high and could cause nerve damage or cause your body to go into a state called ketoacidosis through processes that I will not address in these videos. When blood glucose levels are in the normal range, no insulin is produced to prevent muscles, fat, and the liver from absorbing the glucose, leaving it available for the brain and other neural tissue. When insulin is present, it blocks lipolysis because there is an excess of energy, glucose, and the excess needs to be stored as glycogen in the liver and muscles, and fat in the adipose tissue. There is no need to be breaking down fat when the body is trying to create more to store the excess sugar. This is your lipolysis blocking effect of insulin. Muscles cannot release the sugar that they absorb. They must burn their stored sugars for energy. When the blood sugar starts to drop below its normal range, the liver releases its stores, and when it runs out of stored glucose, it manufactures it from protein to keep blood sugar in the normal range, as I previously discussed. Other tissues that need energy when the blood glucose levels are at a normal level are provided that energy by breaking down either dietary fat or fat stores, providing the aldehydes and ketones that these tissues can use for energy. If there's excess dietary proteins, they can be utilized for energy instead of the fat stores. Note that fat breakdown does not go directly into aldehydes and ketones. The fat molecules are first broken down into fatty acids, which are subsequently turned into aldehydes and ketones. I just wanted to clarify their comment of the use of fatty acids for energy. If you don't eat any carbohydrates, your body stays in this ketotic state, with fat being broken down to provide energy for tissues that cannot absorb glucose without insulin. This, of course, causes greater lipolysis than a diet with higher carb intake, as your body has to continue to break down fat for energy until sufficient carbs are taken in. During this time, the liver continues to produce glucose from protein to keep your brain functioning. If you eat sufficient fat and protein for your body's needs, it will not use any of the stored fat and protein. To get rid of your body fat, you need to consume fewer calories than your body requires for its metabolic needs. You also have to make sure that you have sufficient protein for your liver to provide glucose for your brain, or your body will break down some of your muscle to provide the needed protein. Insulin by itself is not a controlling factor for release of growth factors. Growth factors have been debated for many, many years. No conclusive scientific evidence for their production under physical stimulation such as exercise or dietary intake has been produced. Quote, a small but very important benefit of the ketogenic diet is that when in the state of ketosis, ketones, along with high protein intake, seem to suppress appetite. A high carbohydrate diet, on the other hand, increases hunger levels. Because you have to consume a lot of fat on a ketogenic diet, which holds 9 calories per gram, you're not getting much food volume. It's not mandatory to be hungry on a reduced calorie diet. Close quote. I don't know how much more convoluted and confusing any statement could be, so let's try to make sense of it. Okay, when you see any statement that uses verbs such as seem, appear, may, etc., you should be very suspicious of the information. Right from the start, they are admitting that they are not sure or do not have any irrefutable evidence that their statements are true. There really is no evidence that this diet suppresses appetite. Likewise, there's no evidence that a high-carb diet increases hunger levels. I don't know why they would make the statement that, quote, because you have to consume a lot of fat, close quote, which has more than twice the number of calories as carbs or protein per gram, that, quote, you're not getting much food volume, close quote. All that they are saying to me is that you have to eat a much smaller volume of food to keep your caloric intake low enough so that you don't gain weight. It's not mandatory to be hungry on any diet that provides the energy and nutritional needs of your body. If you're eating insufficiently for your body's needs, you're going to be hungry as your body is telling you that it doesn't have everything that it needs, regardless of your diet. I've now covered the beneficial claims for the keto diet. Next, I will start addressing the negative aspects the promoters advertise. It's even more interesting. If you have any questions or comments, enter them below. You can also contact me at Dr. Meline, DRMELINE, at ss-health.com. See you in the next video.